The Hand of Brass. Episode 7. Meetings Foretold. It was a gloomy afternoon in the fields of Temora. Branador walked up a dirt road following his fellow Elemendian spy.
"We found him, my lord, and not a moment too soon. Seems someone had tipped him off that we've been looking for him."
Where are we holding him?
"In his home. He was rushing to pack his things when we found him. Old dwarven man, a Humerian refugee, and if our sources are correct, he was a priest before their civil war ended."
Did you ask of its location?
"Not yet. We wish to wait for you."
Before them was a lone thatched farmhouse. Branador entered to find the dwarf bound to a wooden chair, flanked by two Elemendian spies. To their left, a cozy fireplace crackled, a red-hot poker sticking out of the coals. Branador began to examine his surroundings, giving the dwarf time to sweat. He perused the belongings scattered throughout the house, until he came to a small shelf where he plucked up an old tin of lamp oil, as if it was a hidden gem.
I'm going to give you a single chance to tell me what I need to know, dwarf. If you refuse, you may prolong my journey, but know that you will be responsible for the death of another of your kind.
Branador finally turned and looked the dwarf in the face. The dwarf stared into a scarred soul who had seen much and cared for little. Branador opened the tin and began to empty it over the dwarf, soaking his beard, hair, and tunic.
There are worse ways to die than choking on greasy smoke as you are devoured by flames. And though you Humerians may be scattered, rest assured, if you withhold anything from me, I will find another of your kin and do this all over again. Understood?
Tossing aside the empty tin, Branador took the poker from the fire. Its tip glowed in front of the dwarf's eyes before slowly moving past his head. He could feel the heat radiating off it on his face as it passed. Branador rested the cool iron of the poker's handle on the crook of the dwarf's neck.
You were once a priest of Adon in the Horisane Mountains, yes?
"I was, my lord, if only briefly, before the Oscillians attacked."
There was a pause, and Branador began to slowly draw the poker back like a sword being unsheathed. The dwarf could feel the ever-hotter metal dragging along his neck as the glowing tip neared.
Where is the scroll of Adon?
The dwarf winced. His flesh was starting to burn as the poker slowly continued to drag.
It was kept in a chest, hewn from obsidian, small enough that it could be strapped to the back of one of the faithful. It could have ended up in one of two places, my lord.
Then I suggest you speak quickly.
The red-hot metal drew nearer to the heron tunic, waiting to be set alight.
Ah! It's either still at the St. Horace Cathedral or the temple on Sanctus Mountain. I do not know which. Please, stop.
Why would it be in two vastly different places? Do you take me for a fool? Speak!
The Alliance. The old Berenian Humerian Alliance. The scroll was sacred to both of us, so it travels back and forth between the two.
Branador gently lifted the poker from the oil-soaked dwarf. An angry red wheal had already risen on his neck.
What is your name?
Henson Helmkeep.
Henson Helmkeep. I thank you for your cooperation, and I bid you farewell. You are a true hero to your people, and have spared many lives this day. Watcher guide you into the next world.
Please, don't do it.
"And?"
Two potential locations. We'll split our efforts. You shall take a group to the Horisane Mountains and find the St. Horace Cathedral. Kill any and all you encounter there. We cannot chance anyone knowing what we are after. I suspect some may already know of our presence. I'll make my way with the others to the Sanctus Mountains once we've covered our tracks here.
"We shall leave at once, then. Watcher be with you."
And you.
Cromwell sat uneasy on his throne as he waited. He was anxious to meet this brass-handed man. He sat upright, poising himself as best as he could, attempting to look strong, noble, and powerful. At least so much as his peasant background would allow. Beside him stood Brannock and two royal knights.
Brannick, what is it you suppose this man with the hand of brass wants?
Sir Colton and Sir Richard said he is not the one calling for this meeting. The elven sorceress he is traveling with is the one who wishes to speak to you. It would seem this man is her bodyguard? Her entourage is very peculiar. The man with a hand of brass as well as a dwarf with a steel leg. Constantine did not mention the latter.
We shall see how this transpires. Oh, perhaps this sorceress is some kind of ruse.
I'm sorry to ask, but you've been very off as of late, Cromwell. Are you all right?
Do not call me that. You must refer to me as Your Highness only. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Highness.
Announcing Sorceress Celine Lemaine of the Atollan Draconian Order of Mages, Duncan the Best Man, and Elric Stormshield of former Humeria.
Celine, Duncan, and Elric walked down the burgundy carpet of the lengthy throne room, passing a flank of 6 guards before arriving at the Peasant King. They knelt and bowed.
Rise and state your business.
Peasant King, we have come before you to ask that you give us permission to enter the Sanctus Mountains.
Sanctus Mountains? Why would you wish to go there, of all places? I could see your dwarven escort seeking to make pilgrimage, but elves and humans have no place there.
I wish to look upon the scroll of Adon on behalf of the Draconians, merely for research purposes and nothing more. I assure you that no sacrilege will come from our visit.
Some would consider it sacrilege merely to entertain the idea of allowing you there without knowing who you are. Perhaps we should get better acquainted. Dine with me and my advisors and spend the night here. That way I can get to better know you and your true intentions. Sir Landon Kerber and Dame Megan Morachek, here. They will show you to your guest rooms.
As you wish, Your Highness. Right this way, please.
Dame Megan and Sir Landon led the trio through a set of heavy wooden doors, guiding them through the maze of hallways.
I assume you have proper dining ware?
Duncan and I have such attire, but Elric here will need something.
Not to worry. We will have our tailor give you the finest Berenia can offer, Master Stormshield.
Oh, why thank you. I've never been to something so prestigious.
Then you are in for a delight, I'm sure. Here are your rooms. A squire will arrive 2 hours hence to bring you to the dining hall. Rest well, and should you need anything, there are servants on standby.
The dining hall was bustling with nobles and people of great importance. Duncan, clad in his cobalt blue tunic with long sleeves and high neck, walked in first, followed by Celine, who was garbed in a rich emerald gown with a black laced corset. Elric, who seemed a little uncomfortable in his fitted scarlet tunic, stiffly straggled behind them. Though conversations never faltered for a moment, they could feel a shift in the energy of the room, and eyes upon them from all sides. They approached the long table in the center of the hall and took their seats.
Celine, you wouldn't happen to know the Berenian protocol for dining with high society and royalty, would you?
I believe the cutlery from the right as it sits are for salad, appetizer, entree, then dessert. As well, the king sits at a separate table at the head of the room with his most important advisors, as you can see over there. He will raise a glass in toast to the evening, of which we all stand and raise our pints, then drink. The head table drinks wine, while the main table drinks ale. Or was it the other way around? No, I'm pretty sure it's crown and advisors drink wine and visitors drink ale. Yes, I believe that is it.
And how is one expected to swallow with this binding all up my throat?
Oh, here. Those top fasteners are for attaching a dress cape. You're not meant to tie them together.
Have you dined with royalty before? You seem to be well versed in this.
Well, yes, actually. My father—
Excuse my interruption, esteemed guests. Sir Duncan, you are requested by His Highness the Peasant King to join the head table, seated on his right side.
As tempting as an offer as that is, I'm a hired best man for Celine, and I would prefer to stay with my charge in case anything happens.
I respect your dedication. However, the Peasant King insists you join him for the feast, my lord. I will give you my personal guarantee that nothing will happen to your charge.
Duncan, I will be fine. Please, sit with the king. I have Elric here with me, and I'm sure Sir Brannick would love to stay in your place by my side. I would love to discuss the shift in politics here in Berenia. I've heard, Brannick, that you were one of the leaders in the revolution, were you not?
Yes, I was. I would be delighted to discuss our triumph over the Tyrant King with you. Duncan looked quizzically at Selene, but then nodded his head. This was all so strange, Duncan thought. Why would the king want to dine with him specifically? Wouldn't Selene be a better fit? She is, after all, the leader of the trio. Duncan made his way to the head table and bowed low.
Your Highness the Peasant King. Duncan the best man at your service.
Duncan, please. I've held my right-hand spot for you. I hope you are enjoying the festivities.
Of course, Your Highness.
Tell me, Duncan, that brass gauntlet you have, you seem to have quite an attachment to it. You don't take it off even at such times as this. Does it have sentimental value? Perhaps a relic passed on from father to son for generations?
Yes, something of that nature.
A man of few words, Sir Duncan. I'm sure I'll loosen that tongue of yours soon, one way or another. Shall we toast?
Servants entered carrying steins of beer for the main table and goblets of wine for the head table. Cromwell stood holding his goblet high.
To this night, may we triumph in all of our endeavors. For Berenia!
For Berenia!
Duncan, being a man of his wine and also desperate to calm his nerves and soothe these awkward interactions with the king, eagerly began tasting the wine just before the king's toast ended. It was very one-note, vile to his taste buds, and vinegary. Duncan's eyes widened as he suddenly spat out the wine.
Don't!
Duncan slapped Cromwell's goblet out of his hand. Catching Cromwell off guard, Cromwell fell face first onto the table. Duncan found himself surrounded by guards pointing their swords. A royal knight by the name of Sir Jason, son of Therion, dropped his stein and drew his sword.
Arrest this man for assaulting our king!
But just as the guards began to advance on Duncan, the counselors who sat at the head of the table began choking and foaming at the mouth. Before anyone could react, they all fell dead onto the table. What is the meaning of this? My king, are you all right?
I'm fine. This man may very well have saved my life.
The wine was a gift from Alomendia, was it not?
Why, yes. Yes, it was. How did you know?
Alomendians aren't known for their wine. Quite the opposite, actually. But they are known for subterfuge. This was an assassination attempt.
My head is spinning. Brannick, take control of this situation and get a full report. Ensure our guests are escorted safely. I must retire to my room to think this over.
As you wish, Your Highness.
Please, don't call me that. And thank you, my friend.
Cromwell entered his room and closed the door. What had happened? He felt as if he had just woke from a dream. Killing the tyrant king, taking the throne, the man with the hand of brass, all of it seemed so vivid, yet so far away. His hand hurt. Duncan's brass gauntlet slapped it so hard it left a bruise. Cromwell no longer felt anger or suspicion. Was it because Duncan had saved his life? Or was there something more? Cromwell aimlessly paced about his room until he found himself looking at the mirror. He saw his reflection, but this time something seemed off. It was as if he was looking at a person who looked like him, but was not him. A person he did not recognize. He looked at every feature of the reflection.
You are the ruler of Berenia, the peasant king, the savior of all. You have no equal. This Duncan wants to take your kingdom from you.
He wants to take my kingdom?
Yes, Your Highness. You like the sound of that, don't you? The status, the riches, the power. It all comes to you because you have risen to the top. You must kill Duncan before he usurps your throne.
He had ample chance to let me die with my counselors. Adon's breath. I cannot believe they are gone.
Focus, Peasant King. Duncan is merely gaining your trust. He poisoned the wine so that you can rely on his counsel. But he is merely making you into a pawn of his own game. He will usurp the throne from you. Don't you understand?
I do understand.
Good. Now, Peasant King, you must...
I understand that this has been Alomendian trickery all along. I will not let you control me anymore.
The reflection snarled and reached through the mirror, grabbing Cromwell by the throat. Cromwell struggled in its demonic grip. In a fit of desperation, Cromwell punched the mirror. It bounced off the glass. He punched again, and with each strike, a hairline crack spidered out further and further. Cromwell's other hand managed to yank the reflection's grip from his throat, and with a mighty roar, he punched the mirror once more. The mirror's power was no more.
Hey there, thanks for listening. If you really enjoyed what you heard, leave a rate and review, and keep up to date with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Hand of Brass. And if you want to support us further, check out our Patreon. You can get exclusive access to bonus footage, behind the scenes, interviews, and more. Thanks again for listening.